Ismail ha dedicado más de 2 décadas a dominar las complejidades de las relaciones internacionales, la promoción de inversiones y el desarrollo empresarial, con una impresionante trayectoria que abarca el sector privado, el gobierno y las organizaciones sin fines de lucro, en este caso a través de la Asociación Mundial de Agencias de Promoción de Inversión, WIPA, y teniendo un impacto en más de 110 países. Ismail valora profundamente la colaboración y el aprendizaje desde diversas perspectivas. Prepárense para una conversación realmente inspiradora aquí en Gente Pro. Bienvenido, Ismail.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about the scope of work of WIPA?
Yes. Let's start with the formal part of it. WIPA is the umbrella organization of investment promotion agencies, and we represent 110 countries from over the world. Our consultative committee is consisting of UNIDO, ILO, UNCTAD, OECD, World Bank, UNWTO, and many of them, to make sure that we can support investment promotion agencies by utilizing this immense know-how of these all international organizations have. Our main title is to make sure that the IPAs can perform better. We can create ideal IPAs to make sure that they can support investors better, to make sure that we can spur growth and FDI, especially sustainable FDI and climate FDI all over the world. Our mandate is to make sure that we can enhance technical capacities of investment promotion agencies as WIPA.
Sometimes we say investment is very important for the countries, but can you tell us what does it mean? Can you tell us more about the impact of FDI in different countries around the world?
Well, FDI is very important to spur growth, to make sure that we can create jobs, to make sure that we can increase exports, also to support technology transfer for every countries. This is the reason why all the countries are running after foreign direct investments, to attract these investments, to make them feel comfortable all over the world. Because investments make sure that they can create jobs for their people. And job creation is one of the most important added value for any country. In addition to that, as I was saying, technology transfer. Countries are trying to reach out to the know-how. And FDI is helping to them. How? Any investment coming to a XYZ country about an additional area that country hadn't worked before. That specific investment can help the countries to understand better about that specific area and somehow to enhance their skills about this area. This is why investments are being somehow extremely important nowadays. Not any investments, of course, sustainable investments and climate investments, climate-friendly investments that also support creation of decent jobs, not any jobs. This is why I think attraction is important, but facilitation is also additionally important. Advocacy is also more important than that. And all of these are being handled by one important institution, by IPAs. And I'm sure we are going to speak about that more.
In the case of Dominican Republic, we are very happy to see the results of our economy, the capacity that we have built in terms of attracting FDI into our country. We have beat our records, attracting more than $4 billion in FDI for 2 consecutive years. But in terms of the region, what are the key sectors where Central America and the Caribbean is attracting FDI into?
Well, there are many sectors that are becoming more and more attractive for the region, but of course, tourism is one of the most important sectors in this region. Infrastructure is also another important area, and telecommunications is also another important area. Real estate and technology and digitalization are all important areas that we should look into. Let's say also green hydrogen, semiconductors. Those are the areas that somehow this region should be looking more into that, as well as logistics. Logistics is also another very important, let's say, sector that the countries are attracting in this region.
Our country has been able to position itself into becoming the logistic hub of the Caribbean, but also you mentioned some of the sectors that constitute the main pillars of our economy. We are talking about tourism. We are talking about renewable energy. We are talking about transportation, telecommunication, real estate, among others. But can you be more specific in how the region, I'm talking about Central America and the Caribbean, can be more capable in terms of aligning the role of IPAs with the current trends of FDI attraction?
Well, let's speak about investment promotion agencies then. IPAs are called investment promotion agencies, but the promotion is maybe the only thing that they do. In addition to that, they have a long list of mandates that they should be in a position to somehow deliver. Facilitation is one of them, advocacy is another one of them, to make sure that the investors are feeling happy in the country is another one of them. So investment promotion agencies are positioned so critically in between the governments and the private sector that they can at one point help governments to understand the importance of investments, but on the other hand help private sector to understand the realities of the country. So there's a need to balance the expectations from the both sides. This is exactly the reason why IPAs should be in a position to understand the expectations of the private sector and speak the language of the investors. What does that mean? They should be coming from private sector. They should be able to understand the expectations, not like the, let's say, traditional bureaucracy would do, but with a 100% private sector mindset. As someone who has been working, let's say, on the both sides of it, I can somehow understand that government somehow is not always able to understand the expectations of the investors because they have not been in the same boat in the past. So investors, they do speak a different language, and government to understand these messages sometimes can take time. And IPAs can be an excellent facilitator to make sure that this somehow waves of information can be put in a nice place, and more business-friendly environments can be created all over the world. This is why they are critical, this is why they are important, and this is why they can really create a win-win situation for everybody, for the country to attract more investments, for the investors to feel more welcomed, and somehow to finalize their procedures much faster, and to be able to invest easily, to live in a better environment for them, and to have all these services free of charge by an investment promotion agencies. What an investor would like more.
It's true. I fully agree with you. In a more global perspective, what are the implications of global economic trends and geopolitical shifts on foreign direct investment dynamics in Central America and the Caribbean? I think you can address that question more globally, but it applies to our region as well.
Yeah, well, it's not an easy question for sure. It will require, I don't know, another hour to be able to answer to that. But what I can say, it's not going towards a very, very, very positive direction. This year, the foreign direct investments decreased by 10% globally. And therefore, well, we see a slight increase in the region. That's a good sign. But in any case, there are a lot of things to be done in all over the world. And countries are not in a position to attract investments easily because investors are also hesitating to invest in any country, although they are sitting in a large amount of cash. Maybe because they cannot find the courage to invest, because they don't see the future, because there are a lot of issues going on all over the world, nearshoring, a lot of inflational pressure, a lot of conflicts all over the world. These are making them to make the decisions harder. So it's not making the news very positive for all of us for the future. But the good thing is this year, when we see in the UNCTAD's report that greenfield investments are increasing by 2-3%. Greenfield investment announcements are increasing 2 to 3%. So it might give us the opportunity and the chance that perhaps the next year we will be able to see an increase in FDI. But we should be also prepared for the worst. Therefore, there's a need for stronger collaboration, Competition is extremely important, of course, but collaboration is important to make sure that we can create more attractive regions. This is the case for, I believe, for the Caribbean region as well. And we should be in a position to somehow promote the region first for the investors. We should be in a position to somehow distribute the priorities for each player in the region and to make sure that we can play together to make sure that we can attract investors first to the region and then to the country. It requires a team play, and everybody has a different and specific role to play in this. Therefore, more collaboration with international organizations is also another important key, that we should be somehow enhancing our technical capacities to be able to provide better services for investors, to create investable projects. Investable project means, let's say, mathematically and financially speaking, and ready projects. Therefore, these are the areas that we should be focusing on because the future does not seem extremely positive.
One of the challenges that IPAs usually face is the fact that they do not own all the projects or most of the projects that they promote. How we can create more capacity into creating projects with a more bankable perspective. Can you be more profound on that? I think it's very important.
It's extremely important. We must be in a position to create investable projects, but it's not an easy job as well. I mean, it requires a lot of close collaboration with the governmental institutions in the country. It requires a lot of strong skills. IPAs have to be hiring skilled workforce to be able to deliver these investable projects because investable project creation requires financial background. It requires statistical background. It requires really tough people to work on it. I mean, it cannot be created very easily. It requires some know-how. IPAs being able to hire this kind of skilled workforce will require funding as well. I mean, it ends up at the...
That's very important for us.
Exactly. It's end up at the very important point, budgeting investment promotion agencies to be able to hire this highly skilled workforce in their institutions.
What role does it play to have a country with political stability, economic stability, transparency in their process? Do you think that is important, or are there more important factors to consider?
Well, when we look at the decision-making processes of investors, top three are those, actually. Economical stability, political stability, and rule of law. These are the most important ones. I mean, we are providing incentives for investors, but incentives are actually not that important, despite the fact that many countries are somehow publishing incentives one after the other. But in fact, those are the three most important points for any country to attract investments, because investment, unlike the trade, happens over the years. Any company who is investing in one country invests next 30 years, 40 years, 50 years of that country. Trade happens instantly. You buy, you sell products, and it's done. But investment is actually really, literally investment in the future. Therefore, they must have trust into that country. They must have confidence for that country. And that confidence does not happen like a personal relationships. It will require political stability, economical stability. The country and the investors will have to be able to see it. And they should be seeing that the rule of law is in place as well in that country. And the next steps will follow afterwards. Incentives, you name it, like infrastructural position, their connectivity with other countries, their export potential, their skilled workforce will follow. But top three are those that you were mentioning, for sure.
That's great. In terms of our location, we have been blessed to be in the heart of the Caribbean. And we, as a country, have been able to create a great infrastructure in terms of ports and airports. a great capacity into becoming a country that is able to export what is produced in the Dominican Republic through different regimes, the national regime, and what we produce in the free trade zones. But how our location is helping the Dominican Republic into attracting more of the eye?
$1 million question. Well, when you look from that perspective, isn't every country extremely strategically located?
Yeah, but not everyone is that connected.
When you just check their website, you would see all the IPAs somehow promoting their
we have the same phrase.
But the most strategical location, I guess, in this case, is going to be Dominican Republic, right? So
Sure.
it's indeed important because it shows the export potential of the country. It shows, let's say, the logistics potential of the country. Any investor who is somehow stepping into one region, they are going to search. They are going to make sure that, okay, I can sell my goods from this country easily from XYZ countries. So strategical location is, of course, the key for many industries. But depending on the expectations of any investor, any place can become kind of a strategical location too.
Yeah, that's true. From your point of view, could you share with us some examples of successful projects that have been located in the region or worldwide that meet these kind of standards? And how do you think creating more channels of collaboration and local partnership is important for that reality?
Well, collaboration is key, as we said, because none of the, let's take the manufacturing. None of the manufacturing base is going to be able to produce a product by somehow getting the pieces from one single country. It will require the other countries working in harmony to provide the product to be delivered on time. I was giving this similar example. Let's take Czech Republic in the middle of Europe, and they are really strong in automotive sector, but the parts are coming from different parts of Europe. So their strategic location make them stronger in the automotive sector because they can somehow bring all these parts to be somehow utilized in their manufacturing processes. Therefore, this regional collaboration thing is becoming extremely important to be able to provide the advantages of being strategically located in the middle of this whole region. So, and all the different actors of the region can be able to provide in whatever area they are the most strong about.
One of the trends, of course, is the semiconductor industry. And what you are saying is that every country has the capacity to identify their added value in order to be part of the pipeline. So for us, that's very important. And it's one of the discussions that we are having in an alliance that we have built with some countries of the region, such as Panama and Costa Rica and Ecuador, because we want to take advantage of what is in the market and this new opportunity that is shifting into the region in terms of nearshoring or friendshoring, what we usually say. But one of the things that I would like to get your perspective is how digital government, how embracing technology is important for IPAs in terms of their services.
Well, IPAs, as we were speaking, are those who are connecting their countries to investors. They must have the vision. They must be able to see the future. They must be in a position to speak the language. And to be able to speak the language of the investors will require digitalization for sure. And we see that the investment promotion agencies are increasingly using digitalization in whatever they do. They don't just promote, but they also facilitate. they provide aftercare services. This is what we were speaking. But in every step of these services, they can somehow increasingly use digitalization in their services. How does that happen? In the olden times, let's give an example from the past. In the olden times, any investor planning to invest in XYZ country, they would need to make a site visit, right? They would step into the country, like visiting 5-6 different sites, places, to make the final decision afterwards. It would take months to visit every single site. Many IPAs now can provide online site visits. They don't need to spend all their time. So time is money for investor. So being able to make the shortlist faster in terms of site selection is going to mean a lot of money for investors. In addition to that, some bureaucratic processes, some certifications was taking a lot of time in the past for investors. But now, by the one-stop shop services that the IPs are providing, all these can be done by online, and it can be done digitally. So it also happens very fast compared to the past. So digitalization is very critically important for IPAs as well, to make sure that they can provide these services much faster, more accurately, and more in time, and in the way that any investor would expect from them.
To finalize this first podcast of Pro Dominicana, I would like to receive your input to give input to our investors in terms of what they should be looking in terms of FDI to capitalize the opportunities in the region.
I've seen that not only for the region, but many investors are not yet aware how they can better utilize all the advantages and the opportunities that investment promotion agencies are providing. Even in the developed countries, so-called, they don't know what an IPA can do and how an IPA can change, let's say, the things for their benefit. My recommendation for any investor in the region to be in close touch with the IPAs, to make sure that they can collaborate with them, they can benefit from the opportunities that they provide. While making their shortlist, they can consult with the IPAs, they can understand, let's say, that these guys are actually were created for them. They are free of charge, they are extremely skilled people, they can speak multiple languages, they represent government. So just utilize this opportunity. And in case you wish to step into any country, make sure that you first get in touch with these guys, with the investment promotion agencies. Don't forget this, to make sure that you really, they can really make the life easier for you.
I fully agree with you. And putting that in the line of work of what we do in Pro Dominicana, we are a partner and a strategic ally for investors. So use us. Thank you so much, Ismail, for sharing your thoughts with us. It has been impressive and very important for our audience. And thanks again for being in the Dominican Republic for this important regional meeting that we will have very soon.
I'm so happy to be here, Viviana. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos y sintonizarnos en este podcast Gente Pro. Estamos muy contentos de haber compartido con Ismail Ezaghin estas visiones desde la perspectiva de la Asociación Mundial de Agencias de Promoción de Inversiones. Muchas gracias por sintonizarnos.